Another Roost of Drakes. Guys, another Roost of Drakes. Okay. Oh, and he scoops. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is Enrin, and today we're going to be going over another MTG Arena guide on Kicker Drakes. So Kicker Drakes rely on the kicker mechanic in the game, where you pay an extra cost on top of the normal cost to get an extra ability of some kind. So in this case, the strategy is going to rely heavily on Roost of Drakes, where you can pay an extra cost to basically have a token generator where it creates drakes with flying. But to get started, we have Bubble Snare. So something to keep in mind for this deck is that because you're going to be paying all of these extra costs, you need a way to survive early in the game when your opponent is probably going to be dropping a whole bunch of creatures to try and just swing at you and reduce you probably down to like half before you can really do anything productive. So Bubble Snare is going to help with that. You can either drop it on a tapped, presumably attacking creature on your turn to make sure it doesn't untap on your opponent's turn. Hopefully you have a couple of these when you're starting, or at least one. And if you pay the kicker cost, then you can actually tap that creature without needing to wait for it to be tapped first. So Roost of Drakes, as I touched on a second ago, you can play it, and then every subsequent kicker card that you play, you can summon a 2/2 flying drake onto the field. If you pay its kicker cost, then you get a 2/2 flying drake right off the bat. Otherwise, every other subsequent kicker spell that you play will then generate a drake. So Reclaim the Wastes, super important card to have early in the game. Basically will help you start pulling land out of your deck. The more land you're pulling out of your deck, the faster you can play it, and the less mana that you're going to be drawing throughout the game. So hopefully between Reclaim the Waste and a couple other cards that we have, you'll be able to build up your mana pool quickly so you can start paying these rather expensive kicker costs. Next we have Into the Roil, where it costs 2 mana, and then if you pay its kicker cost, you get to draw a card after it's played. So return any non-land permanent to its owner's hand, helps with survivability, and helps you make it to the point where you've had a expanded mana pool to play with. Vine Gecko, another card to play early in the game. So a card with kicker will cost 1 less to cast. This doesn't mean that the kicker cost is less necessarily, but it does mean that the base cost of the card will be less by 1. And then whenever you cast a kicked spell, put a +1/+1 counter on Vine Gecko. Sometimes you can get this guy pretty big, but most of the time he's either subject to burn spells or removal or something like that. So I wouldn't bank on him getting like super huge, but he is good to have. Like, you could probably get him to like a 3/3 or a 4/4 and maybe smack your opponent once or twice before he's destroyed. So he's always a really solid card to have early in the game. And then Verazol. This is actually a card we should probably cover after we've covered Inscription of Insight, but basically if you play Verazol, you have the option to spend any amount of mana aside from the island and forest that it costs to play him, and then by doing that, you're putting additional +1/+1 counters on him, and when you play a kicker spell, you can actually remove 2 +1/+1 counters from him to copy that kicker spell to get its effect twice, which, when it comes to Inscription of Insight, is going to be extremely helpful for us. So in this case, just to skip ahead a little bit, Inscription of Insight costs 4 to play, 4 to kick, so 8 in total, but if you do kick it, you get to return up to 2 target creatures from your opponent's side of the field to their hand. Then you get to scry 2 and draw 2. Then you get to create a creature token. The power and toughness are equal to the number of cards in your hand. And this is accounting for after you draw those 2 cards. So just envision for a moment that you have a Verazol out on the field. Maybe it has, 4 power, 4 toughness at the moment. And then you drop an Inscription of Insight, which then lets you return up to 2 creatures, scry 2, draw 2, and create a token. And then it repeats so that you can return 2 more creatures, scry 2 more cards, draw 2 more cards, and then play an even beefier creature afterwards. This is kind of the power and synergy of this deck, is being able to use Inscription of Insight Verazol and Roost of Drakes together, because you're kicking, and when you activate Verazol's effect to play the kicked spell again, you're getting another Drake, and you're just swarming the field, you're getting big creatures, and you're sending everything your opponent controls in terms of creatures back to their hand in an ideal world. So really, really good. Those three make a great combo. But going back to our middle of the deck here, so we have Coralhelm Chronicler. When he's played, you can check the top 5 cards of your deck and pick out a kicker card and put it into your hand. Usually you want to try and draw out a Inscription of Insight or something. That'll be useful for you. And then whenever you play a kick spell, draw a card, discard a card. This can kind of be a double-edged sword, depending on the size of your hand. Sometimes it's basically just becoming a mill, depending on what part of the game you're at. But still, great card to have, synergizes with the deck. Highly recommend having at least 3. I'm using 3 right now. 4 was a little bit too much. Cultivate, just another card that'll help you get more land out onto the field. So you tap 3, and then you can pull 1 basic land card, put it onto the field, and then put 1 into your hand. If you haven't played a land that turn, obviously, you can also play the second land onto the field. Murasa Sproutling, Murasa Sproutling costs 3, so you can play it just as a 3/3 creature, but if you kick it, it can return a kicked card or a kicker card from your graveyard to your hand. So in this case, if your opponent has gotten rid of, say, a Bubble Snare, if they've returned the card to the hand, it's gotten destroyed or something like that, then you can bring the Bubble Snare back. If they've removed your Roost of Drakes with a like a remove enchantment or something like that, then you can bring back your Roost of Drakes, kick it again, and if you have multiple Roost of Drakes already on the field, then that'll trigger all their effects again, which is great. So if you're in a pinch too, you could bring a Murasa Sproutling back with a Murasa Sproutling, and then play it again to bring back something else, so that you have 2 more creatures plus an extra kicker card. It just depends on how much mana you have and what your options are going to be at that point in the game. So we covered Inscription of Insight, and the only last 2 noteworthy cards here are Vastwood Surge. So you can play this about mid-game or so to get another 2 basic land cards and put them onto the field. This is going to definitely help you with ramping up to be able to play these more expensive kicker spells. And then if you have the mana to kick it, which is probably going to be very late in the game, if you do kick it, you're going to get an extra 2 +1/+1 counters on everything you control, which is awesome, especially if you have like 6 Roost of Drakes tokens out on the field at that time or something like that. And that'll mean an extra Roost of Drake token if you've already kicked this on your turn. So really, really good card. As I said, with some other ones, synergizes super well with this deck. Only card left to really talk about is Throne of Makindi. So this will give you colorless mana, and if you pay the cost to add a charge counter onto it, it'll generate some extra mana for you to play kicker spells specifically. So you'll want to play this early, start putting charge counters on it, and then once you get some of these other land cards going, you'll be able to kind of get these more expensive spells going a lot faster than you might think. So definitely important to have 4 of those. I only have 2, but just continuing to build this deck, I will eventually have 4 of these. So just keep that in mind. So basically, to recap, we want to get lots of Roost of Drakes onto the field, start generating 2/2 flying tokens that your opponent may or may not be able to block, and then get our Verazol out on the field, and then seal the deal with things like Inscription of Insight to send the potential blockers back to the hand, draw cards, create extra creature tokens to swing at your opponent with. I've been in situations where this deck can keep up with the likes of a Scoot Swarm deck and things like that, even though those can get crazy, just because I've been able to send the Scoot Swarm back to the hand. I've been able to kind of match the swarming capabilities in some capacity. I would say that this deck isn't as powerful when it comes to like swarming the field, obviously, as something like Scoot Swarm is, but it's a fun little deck to play. It's also not that expensive in terms of rares and things like that. We have the 4 rares that we spend on Verazol. We have a few rares on Throne of Makindi, and then the rest are basically going to be uncommons. So we have the Sproutling, the Vastwood Surge, Cultivate, Vine Gecko, and Roost of Drakes are all rares, but no mythics, I don't believe, in this deck, and only a couple of the gold rares. So now that we know kind of like how the deck is supposed to work, let's jump into some games and see how it goes. All right, we have our opponent, Winged Death 2. Not to be confused with Winged Death 1. Okay, anyway, we've got Throne of Makindi, great. We have Island, we got a Bubble Snare to protect ourselves, Roost of Drakes, Inscription of Insight, Verazol. We are good to go, people. We're going to keep that. Probably play Throne of Makindi first. Actually, no, we'll play the Island first and get the Kicker Drake out early in this game. So we'll play our Island, get Kicker Drake out, no kicker cost. And then when we play Throne of Makindi, we'll put a charge counter on it, and that'll help us start getting going pretty quickly. So we'll drop that. We'll activate its effect to put a charge counter. Then if I want to play Kicked Ability in the next turn, I'd have 2, and we'd have 3 mana to play with. Have another Island here. So we can drop an Island and tap, yeah. Let's just go ahead and do that. So we're going to play an Island, and then we're going to just tap that creature here, the Illusioned Caryatid. We're going to just go ahead and tap that, and we're going to get a Drake out of it. The deck is already rolling the way that we want it to, which is good. And now he won't be able to tap that for land, which should disrupt whatever he's going to be trying to do here. And then the best part about this is that when you're playing against... Ooh, Scoots! Okay, so we're playing against a green-black Scoot deck. Not something you see all the time, but we're going to go ahead and play Thornwood Falls here. And then we're going to... I don't know if... Yeah, we can go ahead and send Scoot back to the hand. Oh, but we can't... We can't kick it yet. Oh, let's do that next turn. We'll put a charge counter on Makindi, and then we'll go ahead and attack with the Drake. And then next turn, we'll go ahead and send Scoot Swarm back to the hand with Into the Roil. And, yeah, we should get another Drake out of that. That'll be good. Hexproof from black. Whenever Garruk's Harbinger deals combat damage to player or Planeswalker, look at that many cards at the top of your library. You may be able to creature. Okay, so that's fine. Let's go ahead and... Let's actually go ahead and Bubble Snare that guy. So as you can see, this is what I was talking about, where your opponent is starting to play things, and you'll just want to Bubble Snare them, so that you can make it to the point at which you can actually start doing things. So pretty soon we'll be able to drop our Verazol, and then our Inscription of Insight, and so on and so on. Up, and they scoop. So that went well. Didn't really get to show you everything that we wanted to do with the deck, but that's a good start. So we'll go ahead and close this one out, and then start another match. And we got another opponent, Jars, to play against with our Roost of Drakes deck. We've got another Throne of Makindi, nice. We've got Bubble Snare, nice. But this is, man, this is almost like the same hand that we got in the other round. All right, so yeah, this is perfect. We're going to smash that keep button. And he plays a Scoured Barrens. We'll go ahead and drop the Roost of Drakes like we did last game. And then we'll drop the Throne of Makindi, put a charge counter on it, so on and so on. Ooh, is he gonna remove it? Can he this early? I see him looking at the Roost of Drakes there. I don't believe that there's a remove enchantment this early. Oh no, okay. So he's got his own kind of little Roost of Drakes going on over there. We'll go ahead, play the Throne, put a charge counter on it. Draws card. Let's see what he's going to play. A Plains. Okay, so we've got 3 mana. Gains life. Draws card. Okay. Gets creature token. Roost of Drakes. All right, we're in business. So we're going to play the forest. Now we're going to kick the Roost of Drakes. And we're going to get two drakes. And this is going to be a token race, my friends. All with the flying ability as well. All 2/2s. Let's see who can ramp faster. Alright, that's fine. Boot Nipper, block you. I'll be getting more. Alright, Murasa Sproutling. We're going to play the forest. And then go ahead and let's Bubble Snare and get a few more drakes. Oh, no. Wait. We don't have enough mana for that yet. Let's go ahead and... yeah, let's reclaim the wastes. We can kick that and get some drakes. And let's grab an island and a forest. And then we'll attack with our drake. So, goal here, like we talked about in the intro, is just going to be building more drakes, getting more cards going. He plays the Tavern Swindler. Alright, we got another forest. So let's play another island. And let's go ahead and... can we do the Murasa Sproutling yet? I think we can. So let's go ahead and... yeah, let's go ahead and play the Murasa Sproutling. Kick it, get more drakes. Get the... reclaim the wastes back into our hand, and smack him for 6 more damage with our drakes. And then next turn, we're going to go ahead and play Bubble Snare on something. I don't know what yet, but we'll go ahead and kick that. And let's see, we have 5 mana out now. So we could actually we could reclaim the wastes, but we do have some mana in our hand. Okay, so he's going to do the coin flip strategy. And didn't work. So another Roost of Drakes. Guys, another Roost of Drakes. Okay. Oh, and he scoops. So we didn't really use Inscription of Insight, but you can kind of see how incorporating that into what we have going here, sending cards back to the hand that, you know, we're already using bubble snares and flying creatures and stuff to get over what your opponent has. So that's we'll keep it at that. We'll keep these 2 games as kind of a short example. Some of the drawbacks of the deck, obviously, if you get mana screwed or something and you just can't get enough resources out to get your combos going, then that can be a problem. I drew exceptionally good hands for some reason on both of these games. So, yeah. So that's kind of the examples. If you guys are interested in seeing this deck played some more, let me know in the comments. If you like the couple of beginner guides that I put together so far, feel free to like or subscribe or let me know. And if you have suggestions about what deck you want to see me do next, let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one.